everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming today. Really appreciate it. Question, if you would mind helping do a little bit more so that you know. Today, I wanted to talk about a lot of basic aspects of Buddhism. The first of which is that the temple is a dojo, and dojo just means place of the way. So this is a place that we come to study Buddhism. And our founder is quoted as saying, without study and practice, there is no Buddhism. So when we come here, what I want people to realize and to remember is that we're here to practice Buddhism, to put effort forward. And it's not just to come and consume on Sundays. If we don't put it into action in our lives, then we are not practicing. Buddhism. You cannot be a Buddhist without actually practicing Buddhism itself. And what does that mean? So one of the basic aspects of Buddhism is meditation. But we look at meditation as being a verb. I meditate on something. Right? But you meditate on that. But the truth is, if you look at the Sanskrit word dhyana, it is not a verb, it's a noun. I practice meditation, I don't meditate. So when we come here, what we're doing is that we're gradually learning about all of the disciplines. So we never look at these things as negatives, right? We just look at them as positive learning situations. So when we meditate, we're not doing anything but dwelling. When we are in meditation, then we are allowing things to just be as they are. And there's a lot of different methods for this. In the Samadhi Raja Sutta, the Buddha talks about what is meditation. And he talks about the meditation as a four-wheeled chariot, that with two wheels on the chariot, the bulk of the weight has to be carried by the horse, right? Even though it's balanced, the horse isn't there to fall. With 5 or 6 wheels, it's a very unwieldy and bumpy ride for anyone who's on it. 4 wheels is optimal. So in the Samadhi Raja Sutta, the Buddha says that the 4 wheels of meditation are awareness, hope, openness, and concentration. But what does this mean? Like, this is a little confusing. So what he says is that 25% of our attention should be on our breathing, so just being here. Just 25%. I mean, look at it like this: when you go to the movie, right? It's not just that you're sitting there and just rapt attention to the movie, right? That'd be the equivalent of me saying, sit in meditation, don't think. Don't think. So, but when you go to the movie, it's like you don't just sit there and stare at the movie. You got about 25% of your mind is on your popcorn, right? You got about 25% of your mind where you're just like with the person that you're with, whoever it is, the person next to you or whatever. 25% of your mind is on the plot of the story. And the other 25% is just experience. Wow, it's loud, it's bright, it's shiny, right? So just like that in our meditation, 25% is on our breathing. 25% is on relaxing our bodies. It's there. 25% of our mind is on making friends with ourselves. And think about how much negative talk we have in our own heads. Oh, God, you're an idiot. Why did you do that today? Oh, you're thinking. What are you thinking? You're not supposed to be thinking. You're supposed to be breathing. Are you counting your breath? I mean, there's all sorts of negative self-talk that we can have when we're in meditation. So 25% is being nice to ourselves. And the last 25% is really realizing the emptiness of all things, the vast possibility of all things, that nothing lasts. Nothing is forever. Nothing is perfect. So whatever I'm feeling right now isn't going to last. The other aspect is to realize that meditation is to act as a mirror so that we can see the world around us reflected. Right? Or more importantly, what we see reflected in the world around us is what's inside. So I can perceive the world as being a horrible place, and I see order everywhere. Right? Because that's what's inside. The goal of what we're trying to do is to learn to just be, to accept things as they are. I am in this situation, and I don't need to wish to be in a different situation right now. So what I want to do is to first take an opportunity to ask you, if you have questions. You can ask anything that you want. And I think that a lot of times, especially for a teacher, I'm learning that it cannot be a top-down situation. It cannot be sage on the stage. So we have to be involved and engaged, because that's the bodhisattva path. It's a two-way street. I am anything but perfect, as you all know. Those of you who know me really well know I'm definitely not perfect. So I am constantly growing and learning from you. But one of the things that we all do is that we have fear about not knowing, or not admitting that when we don't know something, or seeking clarification, or feeling like we don't have support to do that. So, first thing I would like you to do is I would like you to go like this. This is the size of your brain, right? In your head, right now, in your skull, this is literally the size of your brain. 50% of the oxygen that you consume on a daily basis is actually consumed by this. Now, in between the right half and the left half is called the corpus callosum. So I want to symbolize that. Go like this. In fact, go like this. Raise them up. This is your corpus callosum. Now show me your right hemisphere. Show me your left hemisphere. Okay, watch your hands. So what's interesting is that space, the corpus callosum in women, is thinner, which means that they are able to send signals faster than men are. Sorry, men. Women can multitask and deal with situations much faster than we are. It's been proven. Right? Men's is much thicker. It's much more difficult to get the signals to go through in a faster. But men are very focused. When they are focused on a task, they're incredibly focused on the task, and they will not be deterred from that task. That's their superpower. So your brain takes 50% of your oxygen, which means that in our meditation, one of the beauties of it is that we are actually, whether we realize it or not, physiologically feeding our brain in a very efficient capacity. So when we breathe in through our stomach and stomach breathing, we fill our stomach, our chest naturally starts to fill, but we don't raise our shoulders. And when we breathe out by letting our chest and upper body relax. So the air comes out, squeezing the stomach. And that's the same cycle. When we're doing our chanting, when we chant Namu in a single breath, that's all we're doing. We're taking a big breath. And then Namu I'm breathing faster than I breathe out. So when we're chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, that's another breathing meditation. It's another way to get you to breathe correctly and to focus. The interesting thing about Buddhism and meditation is that we're trying to learn how to just be, but in the process we're trying to learn how to get rid of the watcher. Because in the end, no matter how far you get in meditation, the last thing you get rid of is the watcher, the observer. Because in the end, there's no one to observe. So your mind's function is to think, a fire's function is to burn, water's function is to flow, a razor's function is to cut. Well, awareness, its function is to be aware. There's no origin, there's no you that's being aware, it's just awareness that's there. I don't know if that really makes sense to anyone, but it kind of blows my mind when I think about it. When you are sitting in meditation and you feel like you're separated and you're looking at yourself and you're observing, oh, I'm breathing, I'm doing this, realize that there's no you that's there watching you do all of these things. That's awareness itself. That's the same awareness that you're experiencing, that I'm experiencing, that he's experiencing. It's just awareness. But it's not you. You don't exist. You are a whole series of cause and effect events and experiences that have culminated together with the addition of awareness and coalesced into this thing, this being, that is being here now, that you think is all this way. Oh, this defines me. Well, it doesn't. They're just smoke, thoughts. So the realization in Buddhism is that the path is the goal. Enlightenment is the practice. When we light that candle, is it lit at the beginning of the candle or the end of the candle? Is the flame different? Is it the same flame? Is it a new flame? If I take another candle and I light it from that candle, is it a different flame or is it the same flame? These are the questions that we all end up having to ask ourselves. I have no answers for you. The Buddha would sit in noble silence, but what I would say is that the candle was lit at the beginning and at the end. The day that you were introduced to the Dharma, your candle was lit, and it will remain lit till the day that you die. At what point are you enlightened? When you first were given the teaching, or as you lived your life experiencing the teaching, putting it into practice, at which point were you enlightened? Well, if there's no end goal and the path is the goal, then you're enlightened from day one, right now. And it's the practice, it's the process of living, of feeling the suffering, the struggle of life, the four noble truths. All life is suffering or dissatisfaction, however you want to look at it. Everyone experiences it. It's what we have in common. There can be an end to suffering, right? To dissatisfaction. There is a method as well. So this thing that we call suffering is something that we all share, but in the end, it's only suffering because we ascribe a thisness, a thusness, or a thatness to it. That's hot. That's hot. Well, you've made a decision that hot is unlikable. Right? Therefore, you create the suffering for yourself. When it gets to that hot place, you go, ooh, gross. I don't like that. But because we met people who like it when it's hot, we know that it's hot is not inherently gross. Right? I didn't grow up in the cold. I didn't like the cold when I got here. But I knew people who loved the cold, which means that the cold must not inherently be horrible. So today, when we're in meditation, when we're doing our chanting, be nice to yourself. Feel the joy in practice. But realize that that enlightenment and that joy is not accessible unless you practice. If you love the feeling that you have when you're here at temple, when you're practicing with others, when you're sitting in meditation, that joyous feeling that you have is accessible to you too anywhere, but you need to practice. If you have a crappy week, realize that if you practice, you're probably going to have a little better perspective on your week. Right? It's something that you can lean on. You know, what is your priority in life? What is it that you put your faith into, that you hold on to? Is it your job? How about you, Nathan? Is it your job? You put total faith in your job as a lawyer? What if you lose your job? What if you lose your faculties? What will you have? Right? You don't even have that. So everything is in transit, everything is changing. But the one thing we do have is we have the Dharma, the mystical law of the universe that is always accessible to us. But we have to practice. And why are we practicing? For us? So that we can get over this whole thing of suffering? We're practicing for the benefit of other beings, which in the end is the most motivating reason to get up and to do something difficult for somebody else. Because if I have to get up and work out for myself, I'll pay for that. You know, but if I know I got to meet a friend at the gym because they're not going to be motivated unless I'm there, okay, well, you know, okay, I'm going to the gym. You know, so realize that when you're practicing and it's hard, and you were like, how am I going to squeeze in doing a little meditation this morning? How am I going to do my Shudaiga practice this morning? Realize that that is enlightenment. And who cares if you're 5 minutes late for it? Get up 5 minutes earlier, but don't let your practice go to the wayside because you weren't mindful. Find a way so that you can be a benefit to other people. So, questions about meditation, about Buddhism in general, about the specifics of Nichiren Buddhism. We have new people, we have people who've been here for a long time, we have people who go from the beginning. So I would like to start with Taishin. You always freeze up with a good question. So give me a question.
There's lots of different types of meditation. So for someone starting, what would you suggest is the best starting point for meditation?
So for someone who's just starting, what I would say is the best starting point for meditation is following your breath at the very beginning. So I'm just literally saying in, out. I used to say follow, breathing 1 to 10. Breathe in 1, and then the next one's 2, and so on. If you lose your count, go back to 1. But I found that causes people to have anxiety. They're like, well, what if I forget? And then I got to go back to 1. Crap, I've gone back to 1 40 times. Damn, I hate this. And then they start judging themselves and getting all upset and stuff like that. So now my favorite form of breathing meditation is actually two forms. The first is called the 1-4-2 healing breath. And so what that is a multiple of 1, a multiple of 4, and a multiple of 2. It actually dates back about 5,000 years to early Hinduism. And so what it means is I'm going to breathe in on a 1 count. I'm going to hold on a 4 count, and I'm going to breathe out on a 2 count. But I usually start people at a multiple of 4. So 4 times 1 is, I went fast, 4. 4 times 4 is
16.
4 times 2 is 8. So you're going to breathe in for 4 seconds. You're going to hold it for 16 seconds, and you're going to breathe out for 8 seconds. What does that mean? It means you're going to breathe in quickly, get a lot of oxygen in your system. You're going to hold it so that you disseminate that oxygen around your system, and you're going to breathe out slower than you breathed in so that you can push out more carbon dioxide, thereby being a very efficient machine, right? So it would look kind of like this. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, out. 1, 2. Now if I do it in the 4, 16, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Out. Now, the hard part about that is it takes time, right? This is something that takes practice. You got to get to where you can breathe in fully in a 4 count, right? And not from up here, but right here, just right? But 1, 2, 3, 4. And you got to get to where you can hold your breath for 16 seconds. That's actually really hard for some people. 16 seconds are and then when you breathe out, you're just relaxing. And it takes time to get to where at the 8-second mark, you're squeezing your stomach out with the last bit of breath. And as you progress on this breathing technique, you can change the multiples. Maybe you go to 5. And yours is, 5, 20, and 10. You breathe in for 5, you hold for 20, you breathe out for 10. So you can change your multiples. Just depends on what yours is. If you can't hold it for 16 seconds, maybe you go back. Or maybe you just say, I'm going to do it in for 4, but I'm going to try to hold for 12. And maybe next time I'll get 16, but I'm going to try for this. The purpose of this particular style of meditation is the same thing as the regular counting. It's basically to get you to focus on your body and being here now and being mindful. Now, in our practice of Shodaigo, the reason that we do that is to prepare our mind, body, and spirit for chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, the Daimo, which for us is the method that the eternal Buddha, or the Buddha nature, or the mystical Dharma can directly come to us, thereby making the eternal Buddha himself our teacher. And it comes to us directly. We can talk about how this is, koan based, tantric based, insight meditation. I mean, it's all of them wrapped together. But the first meditation is to kind of instill some discipline on ourselves. We follow our breath. We count, we do various different things in order to focus and prepare ourselves for change. The other style of meditation is what's called Shikan Kaza, which means just sitting. And so we finish our Shravagyo meditation with just sitting, which is that you just breathe in and out at your rate, the way that you do. You don't have to enforce a system on yourself. You don't have to force a certain way of thinking on your brain. You're just going to breathe and open yourself and let the feeling of what we call Myo, the mystical nature of the universe, just kind of flow over. It's almost like trying to be like a Jedi and feel the Force. You're not imposing anything, you're just being Jisto, ultimate reality as it is. The train blows, someone's got a squeaky cart or is yelling in the hallway. There's a child playing in the room, whatever it may be, like we accept those things as they are. We don't try to change them. They just are. Great question. Anybody else? Josh. No question whatsoever?
Mm-hmm.
Chuck. Okay. Nathan.
You used the candles in an analogy. Was the candle lit before the fire appeared?
No. I mean, but if you think about it, the analogy is that we're the candle. The fire is the Dharma. When the Dharma comes into contact with the candle, which has lots of fuel, right, that burns, which for us is all of our defilements, our attachments, our anger, our frustration, our suffering, all of these things are really great fuel for enlightenment, right? Because without them, there's no enlightenment, right? There's no trying to understand the nature of existence. If we were not in the human body and if we don't have to suffer, then we have no reason to find enlightenment. We have no motivation to get there. Right? So I would say that the flame is the Dharma, and we're the candle. And theoretically, that Dharma is passed from candle to candle to candle to candle to candle in an unbroken succession all the way back to the Buddha. Maisha, any questions? Questions? I know it's weird to be put on the spot, but this is called Nichiren's tear. It was given me by my master as sort of a reward and a reminder of my connection to the founder and my responsibility to spread the Dharma and to realize the sacrifice. So that's what it's called, tear of Nichiren. But it's just something specific to our order. If you go to visit Nobu-san, anyone can Jerome, question?
So that your costume, your uniform, your robes, that is direct reference back to Nichiren?
Yeah, well, actually, what's interesting is this Japanese Buddhism is like seeing a snapshot of Song China prior to the invasion of the Mongols. So all of our accoutrements, so to speak, are based off of Song-style dress. The black is a new thing in the Meiji area, where they basically had all Buddhist ministers start to wear black as to kind of the state homogenized things. In Japan, religion pays taxes. Like there's no separation of church and state the same way. So they're considered just like a corporation. And so the state required that everyone wear this. Prior to this, Nichiren Buddhists always wore gray. So what you see me wear for my holiday robes, we always wore gray. And that was a reference back to the original use of the robes. Yeah, you can see the gray there, where the Buddha would have his disciples take the robes or the the cloth from the funeral pyres, and sew their case off from those broken bits of cloth, and sew their clothes from those, so as not to be wasteful. And then originally they would take the ashes from funeral pyres and rub them into linen in order to get the correct color, to remind them that comes to result. So today when we're chanting Namu, remember that we're going to chant it in a single breath. Manisha, were you here last time for the Edo style chanting? Okay, so this is a really fun style of chanting that we're going to do today. So we'll be doing our Shadaigyo practice, which is seated zazen meditation, where you're going to take your right hand and then your left hand, thumbs touching lightly. If you can see white in the tips of your thumbs, that means you're pressing too hard, but just barely together. Tongue on the roof of your mouth behind your top teeth. You roll your shoulders back. Let your elbows kind of relax into your side. And you can breathe in and out with your stomach. And breathe in and out through your nose the whole time. If you have a stuffy nose, fine. Breathe in and out through your mouth, that's fine. But try to aspire to breathe in and out through your nose. The reason is that it's going to actually put you into a state of oxygen deprivation, which is going to actually bring you a little closer to alpha waves quicker. So if you should ever be sitting in meditation, you see this kind of clear, amorphous, purple amoeba shape in front of you, that means you're producing alpha waves. It's all great, so just a calm state. So, initial meditation is going to be thumbs together, Hokai Join, thumb on the tip of your, top of your roof of your mouth, behind your top teeth. You'll do today 1-4-2 healing breath, figure out your own style. Each cycle is one. So my suggestion is this: if I breathe in 4 and I hold for 16 and I breathe out for 8, that's 1. Then 2. Once you get to 10, don't try to keep up with it anymore. Just breathe normally. I don't care if the meditation is 2 hours long. I only want you to do it to 10 full cycles and then just breathe normally. It will drive you crazy or push you a little bit too far, or put you in a too much of an oxygen deprived situation if you're not used to it, if you stick with it much beyond that. When we chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, really think about today having your hands in the correct position, just below your pecs, your sternum. The angle at the base of your thumb will be against your sternum, and your hands will come outwards from your heart area. Your elbows will not be out like this. That's a tense situation. Just kind of relax in. When we chant, it's going to be up and out in a bright and celebratory way. Na, not na. Right? So nice and bright. We're going to do it in one breath, right? Which means that when we start, we'll all be on the same na. But by the time we get to Kyo, some of you may be with me, some of you may be behind me. You follow your breath. So what's going to happen is that everybody's going to start being in a different spot. I'm going to be a Na, he's going to be a Myo, he's going to be a Kyo. That's okay. It will create a wonderful tapestry. What I want you to do is I want you to not listen to anyone else's sounds and just follow your breath, right? And when you get to Kyo, it's going to be just like the breathing meditation. You're going to be pushing that air out for the last one. And then Na, okay? And then when we finish the last meditation, you're going to come back to Hokai Join, and you're going to do Shikantaza. You're just going to breathe. You're just going to enjoy. Right? And remember, for those of you who are new, and for those of you who need a refresher, we do not close our eyes when we meditate. We don't walk through life with our eyes closed, so we don't close our eyes when we meditate. We just kind of imagine we're looking out at far mountains, with our eyes just kind of unfocused. The way you would look at something far and something close would be unfocused. And that's called Inzan no Medscape, far mountain gazing. You just let your legs kind of relax, almost like you're stoned, just let your way, just enjoy it. Okay. So that's, I should wait on the lighting of the charcoal. So during changing of Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, Chuck will direct you, please come up and offer incense. And the way that you'll do it is you'll just kind of walk up, you'll take a pinch of incense, you'll just turn your hand over and drop them on the hot coal beautiful, smooth little rush. Usually it's one time, but if you're feeling especially with it, you feel free. Right eye. Dojoge. Know this place where the stupa is erected is the place of enlightenment. Here the Buddhas attain Sambodhi. Here the Buddhas turn the wheel of the Dharma. Here the Buddhas enter into Nirvana. Humble eye. Honor be to our eternal master of the Dharma, Shakyamuni Buddha. Honor be to the great wisdom, the eternal Dharma that equally benefits all, the one vehicle of Yo and Honor be to our founder, representing Jogyo, Nichiren, the great Bodhisattva. Place your hands in Hokai Yomi. If you're sitting in a chair, please sit towards the front of the chair. Legs at a 90-degree angle between thighs and shins. Feet in line with your legs. Tongue in the roof of your mouth. Jōshingyo, purification of mind, heart, and body. Jo Shingo is where we started. Meditate on purifying the mind, heart, and body. Now, Jin Shingo, you meditate on the merits of Myo, the sublime thought. Prayer. With reverence, we offer up the merits we have accumulated through the chanting of the old Namu, so that in doing so, we may receive the greatest of compassion through the transcendental powers of the original Buddha. For all people, we uphold this universal Dharma teaching of equality that benefits all. We deeply vow to diligently strive for the improvement of both our societies and ourselves, as well as to diligently strive for the achievement of the world peace. We pray that all people throughout the four corners of the world may return their lives to the eternal Buddha's pure land through the wonderful Dharma of Yo Renge Yo. Namu Yo Renge Yo. We pray that each and every family member, as well as our benefactors and our friends, all live in accordance with the true Dharma. We pray they all enjoy good health in both body and mind. May they increase their understanding of the Buddha's wisdom, expiate their past transgressions, do good deeds, and lead a virtuous life. May they learn to respect each other. We pray that they embrace the correct practice of Buddhism, perform virtuous work, assiduously improve themselves, and achieve family happiness. May they all obtain the eternal peace and happiness. We pray that all beings, as well as myself, will awaken to the true nature of reality, which is the Buddha nature, and that we all will attain the enlightenment of the Buddha. We remember those in sickness and distress: Esau Simmons, Armin Laverne, Damian Reddick, Wendy Prevost, Jason Wellman, Jesse Schaefer, Lotus Meshi, David Mills, Gail Ball, David Watson, Ben Watson, Gabe Benitez, Victoria, and Jesse Travis Berman. Namu Yo Renge Yo. We pray for all of the deceased, for the spirits of our ancestors, for all those who have formed a relationship with the Buddha, and for all those who have not. May you all hold them like light from the Tathagata. May you cross the ocean of suffering, reach the further shore, and attain Buddhahood. We remember in memoriam Maria Valentin, Jean Knopp, Julia Petrakowski, Cheryl Sissy Jones, Stella the dog, and Maggie Herman. Namu Yo Renge Yo. Daegangyo. The four great vows. Sentient beings are innumerable. I vow to save them all. Our defilements are inexhaustible. I vow to quench them all. The Buddha's teachings are immeasurable. I vow to know them all. The way of the Buddha is unexcelled. I vow to attain the path sublime. With this body, until I attain Buddhahood, I will uphold my faith in the Lotus Sutra. Namu Yo Renge Yo. Namu Yo Renge Yo. Namu Yo Renge Yo. Right high. Thank you all very much for coming. There's the candles, and we'll go ahead and set up the table for libations and put it on the circle. Nice.
Handle for this
Whoa.
thing already.